Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm running for Texas State Legislature, and this is part 2 of Operation Heartbreak Ridge, a strategy to abolish Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston, by me, Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick, candidate for Texas State Legislature, HD 18. So, if you don't know what's going on with Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston, what's happening, please watch the previous video. Watch part 1 of this series. I didn't want to have a long video where I ramble on and on. It's important issues, but I want to keep everything succinct and as focused and direct as possible. So in part 1, we have the background information about Colony Ridge. Part 2, which is this part, we're going to go through my 10-point program for closing down Colony Ridge. And like I said, the title of this is Operation Heartbreak Ridge, a strategy to abolish Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston. So step number 1. The voters must decide if they want to keep Colony Ridge. Do you want Colony Ridge or not? Once again, the voters must decide if they want Colony Ridge or not. Not the movers or shakers. I'm telling you, the political establishment here in Liberty County, well, mostly in Cleveland, it's Cleveland, they want Colony Ridge to continue. But what do the common people want? They're not interested in what you want. They're interested in what they want. They're cut, honestly. The school superintendent, even the mayor and city council, they have a different goal, agenda, and interest than what's good for the people of HD 18. What's good for the citizens of Liberty, San Jacinto, and Hardin County. What about their voices? Well, this is your chance. You need to vote on March 5th, 2024. Actually do early voting in February. I'll put those dates out later. But the people need to decide. We're going to make this a referendum on Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston. If you want, we got 70,000 illegal aliens there now. If you want 250,000, if you want 250,000 more, then vote for Ernest Bales. If you want to stop Colony Ridge, then vote for me, Dr. Missick. And I will implement my plan on closing down Colony Ridge. So let me look back to my booklet and read this. Step 1, voters must decide if they want Colony Ridge or not. If you want Colony Ridge, then vote for the man who created it, and he enriches himself off of it. That's State Representative Ernest Bales. If you want to close down Colony Ridge and tackle this issue head on, then vote for me, Dr. Missick. Colony Ridge is Ernest Bales' baby. He created it with HB 4341. That's the legislation he passed in Austin to create Colony Ridge. So that's his baby. Colony Ridge is Ernest Bales' baby. As long as he is in office, he will protect and expand Colony Ridge. The first step in stopping Colony Ridge is voting Ernest Bales out of office. Actually, the only way, unless the state of Austin comes in and intervenes, the only way to stop Colony Ridge is to vote Ernest Bales out of office. That's step 1. It has to be done. So that's up to the people. You want Colony Ridge? They want it. You know, the city councils, the administrators, county judge, they want 250,000 illegal alien settlers here. That's what they want. They want the shantytown. They want it because they enrich themselves off that. They get their cut. Do you want it? If you don't, vote against Ernest Bales. Now, if you don't want to vote for me, don't, for God's sake. If you want Colony Ridge closed down, you got to get Ernest Bales out of the office. It's the only way to do it. There's another candidate, Janice Holt. I don't think she's equipped to tackle this issue, or she probably isn't even interested in doing it. I'm not saying she's a bad person. She lives an hour away. She's always in Austin. I don't think it's something that she's capable of tackling head on. I'm not saying she's a bad person. She seems to be a nice lady to me. I don't know if any other candidates are running right now. It's me, Ernest Bales, and Janice Holt. Maybe someone else will throw their hat into the ring. But as of now, I'm the one who intends to close down Colony Ridge. That's my goal. Step 2. This is obvious. First, you get rid of Ernest Bales. What do you do next? Which I will do. Repeal House Bill 4341. Repeal the Colony Ridge law. This is Ernest Bales' legislation that created Colony Ridge. Doing this will dissolve the legal foundation protection that State Representative Ernest Bales had given to Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston. So, number 1, vote out Ernest Bales. the big daddy of Colony Ridge. He and Trey Harris, and there's other people as well. Number two, you undo what he did. He created Colony Ridge with the Colony Ridge Law, which is House Bill 4341. We're going to repeal it. And maybe this time we'll actually debate the issue, but we have to repeal it. It will be, if I'm in there, we will repeal it. Step three, place Liberty County under conservatorship. I think that might be necessary. Actually, the state GOP and concerned legislatures seeing the horror of what's going on in Colony Ridge, Taranis, Houston. It's like, what are we going to do about it? One of the strategies they have is to do conservatorship, which means that Austin will come here. It's like, okay, you local politician, elected officials, you're hurting your community. You're not working the best interest of these counties and their citizens. So Austin's going to have to come in and take direct authority and get rid of these people, which they need to. So what would that mean? Well, certain people need to be the protectors, enablers of Colony Ridge, Taranis, Houston must be removed from office. We need to vote some of these people out. I'm shocked these people are able to get reelected based on what they've done. Jay Knight, Louis Bergman, they need to be relieved from their jobs, as well as Mr. Bergman's daughter, who's the DA. We can't have that anymore. They're just going to have to find something else to do while we tackle this issue. So if a conservatorship, maybe I should be the conservator, but if we have a conservatorship, we need a local state representative who cares about his communities, is going to work in the best interest of it, and yet participate with the conservators, the conservator on the conservatorship, to totally eradicate all of this wrongdoing associated with Colony Ridge, which must be done. Step four, stop the ITIN loan program at Colony Ridge. This stands for the Individual Tax Identification Loan. To get a lot at Colony Ridge, Taranis, Houston, the illegal alien doesn't have to have a Social Security number. Obviously, the reason Colony Ridge is doing this is because they cater to the undocumented. Instead, they get an ITI number, which anyone can get. The settlers don't have to have a credit check, nor do they have to have a job history. They just pay $500 and they start assembling a tent, a shack, or a shelter on their assigned lot. They are to provide ID, but it could be ID for their country of origin. We will require them to have a Social Security number, to provide a form of ID from Texas or the USA. We also require them to have a credit check and verify their legal status to reside and work in the United States of America. So this whole non-traditional loan program, no credit check, no job history, no Social Security number, that's got to stop. It's got to stop. It needs to be like everyone else has to do it. We're going to stop that immediately. And that'll probably, once you stop this ITIN loan program, that'll probably, they'll stop coming up here. It's like, party's over. All right, step five, initiate criminal investigations, preferably conducted by the Texas Rangers. The situation represents why we have the Texas Rangers to begin with. We need an outside law enforcement agency, meaning that's one that's not on the take, to come in to do an investigation and potentially prosecute those involved in Colony Ridge, Taranis, Houston. I think that's important. And someone was talking about, I think they called the Michael Berry Show. Michael Berry has been tracking this issue very well. And so the local administrators went after the local sheriff for saying that, no, is it a no-go zone for law enforcement or not? Why aren't they enforcing the law over there? If they can't do it, well, let's continue, because there's other things we need to do. Step 8, call on the National Guard and the DPS to secure Colony Ridge. It is reported that Colony Ridge, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Step 5 is a criminal investigation. Step 6, it says step 5 is a criminal investigation. Hopefully we can bring in an outside law enforcement that's not beholden to Trey Harris or Ernest Bales, independent investigators to see if laws are broken and hold people accountable and prosecute them. Step 6, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. Step 6, have an environmental survey, establish the reports of environmental damage and drainage issues are factual or not. If the reports are true, hold Trey Harris and Colony Ridge, Taranis, Houston liable and require them to repair the damage they had done. Okay, so there's all these stories about the drainage is wrong, there's been flooding, there's been raw sewage just pumped in the local rivers and just on the streets. It's filth, very unhygienic, very unsafe. It's not up to code. Well, is that true or it's not? Either there's drainage issues, either there's pollution, either there's environmental destruction, or not. And if there is, then it needs to be dealt with. I think that all these reports are true. And because of the legal authority given by, well, like I said, one of his, the DA, it's corruption. It's corruption. They're allowing wide-scale pollution, fecal matter in our public waters. They don't care. It's a quick and easy way for a buck. All right, step 7, stop the expansion of Colony Ridge. Trey Harris intends to expand Colony Ridge into Tarkington. With all the controversy, it's time to stop the expansion of Colony Ridge. It's like, why are you letting Colony Ridge take over Tarkington? It's like, I lived in Tarkington. It's a nice little community. It's going to be destroyed. Oh, God. This is terrible. Oh, well, we just asked him not to have bad drainage like he had in Plum Grove. As long as we got good drainage. Here, Ernest Bales. Here, Trey Harris. You can have Tarkington. It's all yours. Make it to a shantytown. Just make sure we got good drainage. I can't believe this is happening, but it is. Step 8, call the National Guard and the DPS to secure Colony Ridge. It is reported that Colony Ridge is a no-go zone for law enforcement. If this is true, then we must bring this area under rule of law. All right? We have to live in. That's what bothers me about the whole illegal immigration thing. I've traveled around the world, and I have to have a visa and a passport, and when I'm in a foreign country, I have to be respectful for their laws, their norms and customs as far as possible. You go through the airport, and they do the electronic strip search. Put your hands over your head, and it's like, man, everybody that gets on the plane has to be, they're looking at your nude body. It's such a violation. Oh, this is for your safety. Humiliate you. But these people just walk across the border by the tens of thousands. And I want to say something else about that. Like I said, I've worked on the border issue directly for 4 years. So each one of these people that comes across our border, we let, the Biden administration lets them come on in. The cartel extracts $10,000 from each illegal alien. $10,000. Do the math. So if you have 250,000 illegal aliens, as we do right now, 250,000 illegal aliens crossing by through our border every month, and each one of them is giving the drug cartels $10,000 or more sometimes, you're looking at the Mexican drug cartel is getting $30 trillion or more since the Biden administration took office, or the Biden regime seized power. It's a better way of putting it. I don't believe that's kind of the incredible thing is these people, they steal an election, they seize power, they start pursuing the opposition and jailing them, trying to prosecute the opposing side. And I remember, Biden's in the process of stealing, taking over the government, or actually Barack Obama, the people behind him. He's their old figurehead. I'm moderate Joe from Scranton. Oh, don't worry about, I'm Republicans, Democrats. I'll be for everybody. It's like, you've never been for everybody your whole life. You're a left-wing extremist. Give me a break. Biden's a moderate. Come on. Spare me. And look at this. This is the most left-wing radical administration probably in the history of this country, and probably one of the most extreme left-wing governments in the world right now. Our policy at the border is going to destroy this country. It's unsustainable. It's represents decline, and I'm surprised that the Republican Party is so weak and insipid. That's why we need someone like me, somebody who's serious about our nation, what it represents, the conservative policies that help everybody, that puts principles first. So let's continue. If this is true, let me read this again. Step 8, call the National Guard and the DPS to secure Colony Ridge. It's reported that Colony Ridge is no-go for law enforcement. If that's true, we must bring this area under the rule of law. We need to initiate what I'm going to call Operation Heartbreak Ridge and have the National Guard, the military police, and the Department of Public Safety secure the region. It's like somebody, well, it's not that it's a no-go zone. It's just too big. It's just we can't cope with something so large. Oh, really? Oh, okay, so you need help. All right, let's call the National Guard. Let's call the DPS. This is a threat to public safety. Step 9, bring in immigration and customs enforcement. This might have to wait until a Republican takes office, if we ever do again. hopefully in 2025. We need an ICE task force to clean up the mess Ernest Bells created in Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston. So, step 10. This is the conclusion. This is a 10-point program. So, step 10. While immigration law needs to be enforced, it's important. I think we need to have rule of law. I think we're probably going to have 15 to 20 million illegal aliens brought into the country under Joe Biden just by walking across the border. And these children are being sexually trafficked. Drugs are coming across the border, killing 100,000 American teenagers and young people every year. Biden administration doesn't care. It's horrible. So we need to enforce the law. And we have so many people that took advantage of this regime and its policies that, many people do need to be deported. But we should still, at the same time, have compassion. I wish we'd just secure the border and then deal with the problem. But they want millions upon millions upon millions more. I saw a book at the bookstore. It was written by a Democrat. And it was about how they want to bring the population of the United States to 1 billion through legal and illegal immigration. That's what they want to do. Can you imagine that? Okay, while immigration law needs to be enforced, it seems that the illegal immigrant While immigration law needs to be enforced, it seems that the illegal aliens settling in Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston are being exploited. We need to look after their welfare. It is time to begin filing lawsuits on behalf of all victims of Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston. A Hispanic friend of mine went to Colony Ridge and spoke to several of the residents. She said that they feel like they're being deceived and exploited and have great fear and frustration. We must protect all human beings from hate and harm, and abuse, regardless of their immigration status. So here we got Trey Harris. Trey Harris is exploiting illegal immigrants. He's exploiting them. And he has the audacity to accuse people who are appalled by what he's doing, not just to our community, but to the people who are residents in his community. Calls us racist. It's horrible. I'm sure he's the racist. That's usually what they do. But he doesn't care about anything and have any moral structures at all. It's just about money and power. He'll do anything to get it. Actually, my friend who went over there to check things out, she says you got to be careful. This is a money-making, a business, maybe illegal or unethical, but it's a business plan. This is a money-making scheme. And if she goes, if they feel like you're an actual threat to them, they might try to kill you. And it's like, I'm not afraid of those people. My hope is in Jesus Christ, and for me to live as Christ and die as gain. Plus, I'm a fighter, trained military combatant. So, why does this matter? Many people whose families have lived in this region for generations are being forced to leave because of Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston. The community is no longer safe. This rapid growth is also creating a lot of problems with the local infrastructure, which Attorney General Paxton talked about that. Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston is reputed to be a bastion of the Mexican drug cartels. It's full of gang activity, prostitution, and drugs. Just think about the issue of prostitution. It's illegal. You could argue that, you have a grown adult woman. It's something consensual between two adults. This is the world's oldest profession. Blah blah blah. But the fact of the matter is, we're talking about sex trafficking. We're talking about women who are being enslaved and who are being made in the United States of America in the 21st century. Women being enslaved for sex and raped again and again daily. And you're just going to let that go on? And local pastors are taking money from Ernest Bells and turning a blind eye to it? Churches are being closed down by this. People are moving out. I preached in Splendora many times. That there's a church there. It used to be, network with my church. Congregation would come over here. I'd go over there. Right outside Plum Grove, you had to close the church and move out, because it's not safe. Plus, all of his parishioners are gone, driven out by Trey Harris and Ernest Bells. I think this Robert Nichols guy is not running again, but he's just like Bales. So we can't allow human sex trafficking, child trafficking. We know what the cartels are about. And another thing is, either they're running Colony Ridge, or they're there, or they're not. And if they're there, it needs to be dealt with. And obviously they are there. So, basically this means that Ernest Bales is giving Liberty County, San Jacinto County, to the Mexican drug cartels on a silver platter. You want to do something about it? Vote this man out of office. Vote this man. Janice Holt's like, you shouldn't have different candidates. If he doesn't get 50% of the vote, he goes to runoff. We've got to get Bales out. If you want Colony Ridge closed down, I'll do it. Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston is reputed to be a bastion of the Mexican drug cartels and full of gang activity, prostitution, and drugs. There have been several overdoses in our local schools recently. Recently, violence has spilled out, and an illegal alien, most likely connected to the cartels, was murdering men, women, and children, execution style, in the local area, about 3 miles from the church I pastor. I was actually here. I was kind of shocked. And the next morning we have Saturday services, and this lady says, there's a cartel member going around shooting men, women, and children. Could be on our church grounds. What? What do you expect with Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston? What do you expect? This is the quality of life that Ernest Bales has. He's transformed our counties to a sanctuary district, allowed the Mexican drug cartels to set up shop, and has reduced the quality of our life. It's not just me saying this. It's the law he passed, and it's what our Attorney General is saying. Colony Ridge, this is just a fact. Colony Ridge is going to engulf Liberty and San Jacinto counties if we don't stop it now. If we don't stop Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston, we'll be seeing more young people dying from drug overdoses. We'll see more girls getting sexually trafficked. And we'll see more gang activity, more violence, more killings. This is the future that Trey Harris and Ernest Bales have in store for us. We have to stop them now. Let's vote Ernest Bales out of office and shut down Colony Ridge. I want to mention something. This is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And like I said, I've been in the National Guard. I'm in the National Guard, and I have soldiers in the border mission. I worked on the border mission. And it used to be pretty much any woman that's going to, cross the country illegally is going to be raped. And, you pay your $10,000 to the coyotes and the Mexican drug cartels. You get to the border, and our soldiers can see this. And of course, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. himself, who was, until he went to the border and saw for himself what's going on, which as someone working there on the border for 4 years as I have, it's worse than you can imagine. People don't even know, and you try to tell people how bad the border is, and they won't believe you. It's just unfathomable, but that's what's going on. So RFK Jr. went down the border to see what's going on. He's appalled. And he saw it. You got the rape tree. What is the rape tree? They have a big tree. Okay, they have 30, 40 people. It's like, all right, girls, line up. You're going to service the coyotes. We're going to extract our last payment. And they rape the girls one by one before they send them across the border. They extract their last payment in addition to the $10,000 each one of these people paid to come, and they have to know. It's incredible. It's like, how do you get, how you do that to somebody else, for one thing? How could you subject yourself to that? Maybe some of these women don't know they're going to be raped multiple times. This is the policy of the Biden administration. Mayorkas knows. We've had our senators and congressmen call him out. This is going on. He doesn't care. They want a supermajority. They want a one-party state to realize their dream, the ultimate goal of creating a totalitarian Marxist police state, totally controlled by the Democrat Party over the United States. That's their goal, and this is one of the ways they think they're going to get there. Where can I learn more? For additional information, check out Wayne Dolcefino's reports, The Sound of Silence and Stabbed in the Back. Todd Bensman, with the Center of Immigration Studies, has done excellent reporting on Colony Ridge, as has Spencer Lindquist, The Daily Wire. It's interesting. Wayne Dolcefino's reports, The Sound of Silence, because no one wanted to talk about what's going on in Colony Ridge until I like Michael Berry. I sent him information. I read all my emails. I sent him information about Colony Ridge and Terranos, Houston years ago, probably. He's had to be tracking the issue. But now, I thank God for Michael Berry. He's speaking out on the issue. He's been fair about it, giving people a voice. But until September 15th, when the Daily Wire covered the story, then it broke out and became a major news story. Before then, I mean, it's been going on for years, since 2017. No one wants to talk about it. Now it's an object of discussion. Thank God. It's about time. And once the story is published by the Daily Wire, that was the breakthrough event, and now Michael Berry's talking about it. Michael Berry, he had Trey Harris on his show. He gave him 2.5 hours. I was kind of offended. It's like, I like Michael Berry. What is he giving this guy a forum for? But my uncle was saying, well, you got to give Michael the benefit of the doubt. He's been a good guy, hasn't he? Well, yeah, I got to say he is a good guy. Still, it's disturbing that he let Trey Harris, make his show the Trey Harris show. But then he had Leanne Penton Walker on his show as well, and gave her 3 hours. So, and one thing Michael Berry is correct about is like, well, I did this interview with Trey Harris. I'm not going to shout at him. I'm not going to talk over him and let him say his piece. That doesn't mean he should not challenge false statements or allow disinformation on his program. But he had Leanne Walker on there, which is good. So Michael Berry's actually been covering the story very well. So if you want to look at some of the programs on his show, they should be on iHeartRadio and other places on his website. So he's also been tracking and he is a good guy. I like Michael Berry. I agree with his perspective for the most part. Of course, I'm also a Trump supporter. He is now. At first, he was a never Trumper, but he saw that Trump's agenda is effective, and he's supporting Donald Trump. So check out the reports from Texas Scorecard. Now, the liberal media also wants to flip Texas blue, so they're dismissive of reports of Colony Ridge, and they try to dismiss factual reporting like goings-on at Colony Ridge as a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. I was talking to this the barber. We've been talking to her. I've been talking to her about Trey Harris and Ernest Bales and what Ernest Bales is up to for several years now. And I said, the Houston Chronicle says that there's nothing to see here at Colony Ridge. That's all a conspiracy theory. She says, what do you mean? Just drive down the road 3 or 4 miles from here. You see it for yourself. It's been going on for years. But they, like I said, it's part of the Democrat Party's agenda. All right, I need to talk about me. This is an issue that we have to tackle, Colony Ridge, and I'm running against Ernest Bales. I want to defeat him. But I was talking to this woman supporting my campaign, and she's like, you need to talk about you and not be negative all the time against Bales. But it's like, yes, I do need to talk about me, my agenda, who I am. That's true, but I still have to deal with Ernest Bales. So let's talk about me for a minute. Vote for Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. That's me. Dr. Missick lives in Shepherd, Texas, and pastors King of Saints Tabernacle in Cleveland, Texas. He is the author of several books, including the St. Jude Thaddeus Storybook. That's a nice book I wrote. The Aeneid, another book I'm proud of. The Language of Jesus, Introducing Aramaic. That's a pretty good book. I've written several other books, including Christ the Man and others. He attended college at Southwestern State University and attended seminary at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. After earning his doctorate I also earned his doctorate, my doctorate from Houston Graduate School of Theology. I earned that degree. It's hard work. He served in the Army. I served in the Army for 30 years, and I have 2 deployments to Iraq. I also served in the border mission for 4 years, 3 to 4 years. I understand the border very well, and I understand what needs to be done to secure it. So here I have how to contact me. So it's pivotal. It's pivotal. Don't be distracted. For here in HB 18, I care about people, and I want what's best for our community. I want to improve the quality of life here in the community and create opportunities for people to live, thrive, and survive. I really want to do all that. I want to be a servant of the people. But the priority issue right now, and it's imperiling us all, is Colony Ridge. Colony Ridge, as I said in the beginning of this program, is Ernest Bales' baby. He created it with HB 4341. Is that it? Colony Ridge law he passed. So he's created it. He sustains it. He wants it to grow. The school administrator wants it to grow. Other administrators in the area want it to grow. They want the money they think they're going to get. They want to empower and enrich themselves. They don't care about what's the best interest of our community. They care about, for them, their bottom line, how much money they can pocket from all of this. And Ernest Bell realizing his goal of flipping Texas blue. He's campaigned for that actively, publicly. He's identified himself with the Flip Texas Blue movement. That's what he is. This, he believes, is a means for achieving that goal. So, we need to vote. You got to vote to get earnest bails out of there. These are the 10-step program to closing down earnest bails. Sad reality. Step number 1 is voting. Vote early in November, but vote on March 5th, on Election Day, where this is actually the primary day the election is going to be the year. If we, March 5th, just imagine, close with this. The voters decide. This is your opportunity to decide. Do you want Colony Ridge or not? If you don't want Colony Ridge, or if you want it changed or slowed down in any way, you got to get Ernest Bales out of office. He is Mr. Colony Ridge. He and Trey Harris and others, the other people involved in this one. Those are the two big guys. If you want to stop Colony Ridge, you have to vote Ernest Bales out of office. And I hope we have a decisive election on March 5th and end it. If I decisively win, or, Ernest Bales is voted out, on March 5th, it's over for Ernest Bales. At that point, if I win, I will become the de facto, I'll be the representative elect. And I'll be on the Republican ticket. And November, of course, you have the, just like I voted last time, 2022, you do have to, it didn't even show, Ernest Bales won, unfortunately, he won the primary last time. So his name didn't, you had to press click a box in about, these candidates, but they didn't even put his name because it's a done deal. If we decisively win on March 5th, then I will be the de facto, and I will be the representative elect of this House district, and I'm not going to wait. Even though I won't be officially the representative until November, and I won't swear in or whatever, or affirm my office until January 2025. I'll immediately get to work. Time is of the essence, and at that point, Ernest Bales will be defeated if he's decisively voted out of office. And if I decisively win, and the voters decide they don't want Colony Ridge, then I will immediately begin to take action to close it down. Why wait? Let's get busy. There's a lot of work to do, and we need to start working to close down Colony Ridge. If I win decisively, if we run Ernest Bales out of office and I win decisively on March 5th, March 6th, we're going to start springing into action to close down Colony Ridge. I'll do everything I can. That way, it'll be a done deal once November comes around and once I take office in January 2025. Why wait? Let's get busy. So put the word out. Let people know. You don't like what's going on in Colony Ridge? Vote Ernest Bales out of office. It's time for the voters to take action and let your voice be heard. This is the way to do it. You have a choice. If you don't want Colony Ridge, you want to close it down, vote for me. I'll do it. So let's pray about this issue. Be involved. And if Bales is reelected, you want to know what our House district is going to look like, just go to Palm Grove and look around. That's the future that Ernest Bales and Trey Harris have in store for us. So for God's sake and for the good of our county and the sake of our family, our community, and our children, we've got to get Ernest Bales out of office. God help us. And this 10-point program needs to be implemented. So take this very seriously. Get the word out. Let's get organized. Let's get active. And let's stop Colony Ridge. So thank you, and God bless you.